I'm afraid to get my hair cut here in Melbourne because I got these curls. And I did actually find somebody in my network that could for the low, low price of almost $400. So I'm not getting my hair cut here in Melbourne. This week's video is going to be a little bit different. Um, I did not record throughout the week. I recorded everything that I did, but not this part, not like our little voice note part, because I thought, you know what, let's just tell the story of the week. So it started off like any other week, editing, uploading, and playing Destiny 2. Right now in Destiny 2, there's no new content. So we're just kind of going through and playing like the hardest level difficulty things. And overall, it's like I'd say overall, it's good. It's still a good time. I get to hang out with my buddy Tommy. We get to catch up. We have a good time. So I did that. On Thursday was basically the blockbuster game of the weekend. It's the cats versus the dogs, which right there, right? The two names, done. Unfortunately, it was out in Geelong, and so instead of schlepping out there, I went to a bar in St. Kilda with my buddy and a friend of hers, and we just watched it in like the coolest sports bar I've ever seen. Like from the outside, it just looked like any other pub, right? Not a nice pub, but still just like any other pub. And they had the Parma special, so still, we're classic pubbing, really interesting space. And it was a nice bar. Parma, listen, I'm very critical about a Parma. The Parma at Harvey's in St. Kilda was actually really good. It was a little too much tomato sauce for my taste, but the cheese was good, the salad was fresh, the chips were plentiful, and had this like great like barbecue seasoning. They had a lot of barbecue food, so I assume it's a barbecue seasoning, but it was like a cayenne pepper, salt and pepper combo on the chips, which were delicious. The only downside is instead of it coming with tomato sauce for the chips, they put a giant thing of mayonnaise on the side. Oh man, back to the mayonnaise. But still, it was delicious. And then the next day, I had a business meeting way out, like near Bond Beach, where I was spending my summer going to the beach. Bond Beach is gorgeous. If you haven't been, I highly recommend it. It was actually the best beach I went to in Melbourne. I went to a few of them. On that same evening, it's Friday. It's Friday night footy, and this Friday was Dreamtime at the G, which I have been to only once before. Dreamtime at the G is a special event. It's part of Sir Douglas Nicholls' round, which is 2 weeks of the AFL season that it's dedicated to celebrating Indigenous and Aboriginal and First Nations cultures. It's a fantastic time. All the teams make special Guernseys. They invite Aboriginal artists to design them, and it's beautiful. Everything is like this gorgeous artwork. There are all these different ceremonies and performances that happen at the different matches throughout the 2 weeks. And the last Friday, basically, so the second Friday of Sir Douglas Nicholls' round is Dreamtime at the G, where there's always a big performance. There's an Aboriginal musician usually invited. There's dancing and smoke ceremonies and fireworks and huge pageantry. And I missed it. I missed it the first year that we tried to go because we didn't know what time it was. We didn't realize that Dreamtime at the G happens it starts like an hour before the game starts, which we didn't know my first year here. I went with a bunch of my classmates. This year, I unfortunately was going alone because my buddy that I would have gone with, she had a conflict. The park, I walked into the park where the stadium is as the show was finishing. So once again, I missed the Dreamtime at the G. The game was pretty good. It's always the Bombers playing the Tigers, and the stadium is lit up in black. The downside to Dreamtime at the G, besides missing the ceremony, was that the line for food was crazy. So the week before, when I went to see North Melbourne and the Tigers with my buddy, they just totally ran out of food. No food in the AFL member section at the G. Nothing. They were like, "Hey, we're sorry, we're shutting down early." They shut down after halftime because they said they ran out of food. Then this week, they looked like they were starting to run out of food. And I was like, you know what? I missed the ceremony anyway, so I'm going to get food first and then go to my seat. And of course, nothing is ready. Everything is taken. I got people taking like 4 or 5 things of food. And literally, as they're pushing it down the like stainless steel chute, it's just getting grabbed. Right. And it takes a while. The line was long. I make it to the front. Now I got to wait for the chicken because I did chicken and chips. It comes down the thing. It's my turn to grab it. I grab it and I look and I went, hey, there's nobody there. The guy disappeared. The food runner is now off next to the fryer again because they chipped me. They gave me 2 tendies. There's supposed to be 3. 3 for the chicken and chips, which costs $17.50. And instead, you 30% less chicken because I only got 2 tendies. Same $17.50. I was so mad. But what are you going to do? Who am I going to tell? The guy is gone. He's off trying to make more food. I got a ton of people behind me. So you know what? Fine. Once again, after the debacle of you taking, of the MCG selling me 10 packs of footy cards, but only giving me 9. Now you sold me 3 tendies and chips, and you only gave me 2. Some dude was sitting in my seat because they had an extra person in their party who didn't buy a seat on the ground. I was sitting on the ground level. She didn't buy a seat on the ground level. She just was like there to vibe with the bigger group. I don't know. But I walked down the aisle. I specifically bought an aisle seat because of what we talked about last week, the issue where the seats are not all the same on the ground level anymore in the AFL members section of the G. And there's a dude sitting in it. And he's not only sitting in my seat, he's on FaceTime with his grandkid trying to show her what's going on in the stadium. And I was just like, listen, like, you're in my seat. And then the whole party, there was like a group of like 6 or 7 of them. They're all trying to figure out who's supposed to be sitting where. Oh, and it turns out homegirl just doesn't have a seat down here. She's GA. She needs to be up in the 3rd level. No. And then she's like, she exits. And I was like, oh, sorry. And she's like, no, it's not you. No, because I do feel bad. Like, they were already settled. I showed up late. If I'd shown up on time, that wouldn't have happened. But, just trying to be nice, right? Then she goes and she tries to go in the row behind me. And then she talks to the guys 2 rows behind us. And she goes, oh, is anybody sitting here? Which it turns out the 2 end seats behind me were empty the whole game. Whoever bought those seats just didn't show up to them. But she tried to sit there. And then the guys were like, no, like, all the seats here are reserved. Like, if you didn't reserve a seat, you cannot sit down here. And she just goes, oh. I saw when I was leaving that the house that I wanted to buy next to the G sold finally, shockingly enough. I think it went down to about 3 million because when I looked it up today, looked it up real quick, and I think they were asking for 4.5 million. And I think it just sold for 3. But the people bought it for 1.8, and then the people before them bought it for 180 grand. So like, we don't feel bad for these richies. I've just found new chips, CC's, which are like knockoff Doritos, basically. Meat pie and sausage roll flavor. I got the meat pie ones, tried them today. No. They don't taste like it. Like, they literally taste like nothing. They taste just like a regular corn chip. Why are you calling them meat pie when they don't actually taste like anything? So then I spent Saturday at Marvel. There was one game at noon. Started at 12:30, which I think is the earliest time that a game starts. So I got up early, went down to Marvel, got a delicious grape bubble tea from Cha Time. A beaten mix you every time, even though it's twice the price. Well worth it. Absolutely worth it. It was fine. It was the Blues and the Giants. The Giants won. Yeah, then they were like, oh, hey, everybody's got to get out because the Pies game was also at Marvel that same night. And that's basically why I went to the Blues game, because I was like, well, why am I going to go to the G to see the Hawks when I can just already be at Marvel and not worry about it? Then, just killed 2 hours playing Stardew Valley outside the stadium. It was beautiful, sunny day. It was kind of cold, though. Winter is finally here. I know I said like 11 weeks ago winter was coming. Nah, it took 11 weeks for winter to get here. But she's here. It's been raining and it's just cold. Even when the sun's out, it's cold out. So I sat outside, enjoyed a little bit of the sun. Super windy too. I ended up coming home Saturday night, all windburn on my cheeks and my nose. It was wild. But the sunset was gorgeous. Then, as I saw people in Pies gear starting to head into the stadium, I was like, all right, it's time for me to go in too. Found a new spot, a new kind of food in Marvel. They brought the butter chicken. The butter chicken chips came to Marvel. I'm shocked. I thought it was only a thing at Optus Stadium in Perth. Pies won fantastically. Love to see it. And then that brings us to today, where I just went to the D's game. And yeah, that's it for the week. Otherwise, you know what? Things are going all right. I started my own consulting company, working on getting a couple clients, because we can't be trusting this job market. This job market is not it. And so we're making our own job market now. All right. But yeah, that'll be it for me for the week. I will talk to you all next week. Don't forget though, you could be spending your time with anybody, but you chose to spend it with me. And that's what I appreciate about you. I'll see you all next time. Bye.